Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, you've heard me say before, these are all great sponsors. You should be using them too. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say before, probably one of the best equipment purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule that live web demo today. We also want to thank our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Student athletes love the videos, our parents love the streaming, but there's a whole lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the 100 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Scheduling, rosters, results, communication, facilities. How about athletic eligibility and clearance? Home Campus does all of these things and more. Does them better, does it easier. Go to homecampus.com and sign up today. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thanks to Beacon Creative and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for a decade, but now Beacon Creative takes it to a new level. They're going to take your content and create compelling stories that allow you to, like I said, share your legacy. I want you to reach out to John Townsend. That's John, John, at beaconwalloffame.com to find out more. That's Beacon Creative Wall of Fame. Let's also thank our good friends at Gipper. If you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to help you become a social media marketing guru. Social media posts, newsletters, you name it. Your school is doing great work, and Gipper's going to help you promote it within your community. Your brand, your colors, your logo, your mascot, it's all there at Gipper, and it's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We also want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's through Ohio, but my assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others. And while they were earning their degree, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to thank Hometown. Hometown continues to be a game changer with their solutions that include things like, digital ticketing. They're still the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. But how about fee-free fundraising, athletic website construction, and a whole lot more? Whether you're an athletic director, a principal, or a coach, Hometown is going to help you save time. It's going to help you raise more money. And it's also going to help you bring your community together. That's hometown.com. And don't forget to mention the podcast. We've got a new sponsor. We want to welcome Booster Hub. You need boosters who can deliver results, not create headaches. And a weak system with volunteer turnover can leave your program vulnerable. But Booster Hub, the #1 software for booster clubs, is going to solve this. Sponsorship payments, meal plans, concession sales, now it's all going to flow through one secure system. And when volunteers do change, nothing falls through the cracks. Your funding stays strong, fraud risks stay low, and your community stays engaged. Booster Hub also handles all communications, volunteer scheduling, online spiritware sales, and this gives your boosters more time to support your athletic department as fans. Give your boosters the platform they need to truly support your athletes. Learn more at boosterhub.com. boosterhub.com. That's boosterhub.com. And we also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys. At my school, we use surveys for everything: student athletes, coaches, even parents. And the information that would come back on these surveys was incredibly positive. I'm talking 98% approval. We also got to hear from our squeaky wheel parents, but the surveys allowed us to hear their concerns, typically address them before they turned into something big. But having all that positive data, like I said, it's so valuable, especially if you're meeting with your principal or sometimes even with your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. athleticsurveys.com. And don't forget to mention the podcast. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to one of our favorite states. Got a lot of friends there, the great state of Tennessee. And we're going to be visiting today with Bryan Brown. Bryan's a certified athletic administrator, longtime AD in the state, and he's currently the county athletic director for Knox County School District. And of course, that's in Knox County, Tennessee. Bryan, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thanks. Honored to be on here.
Well, we've had this scheduled for a while, so I'm excited to get you going. It's a busy time for ADs. We're recording this here in January. The winter holiday break is over. People are back and trying to wrap up winter seasons and get ready for spring. So appreciate you spending some time with us. Bryan, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us your quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up. Maybe take us up through your own college days, and then we'll take a break, hear about your career later. But what's the Bryan Brown origin story?
Well, I grew up in western Wisconsin, small town, St. Croix Falls. Actually, you've had their athletic director on recently on the podcast. It's a very sports-minded town, and I grew up in a sports-minded family, so there was always a ball game on, whatever season it was. We were playing it, we were watching it, we were living it. I played high school football and basketball, did track and field, grew up through the middle school ranks doing it all because that's what everybody did in our town.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough to play college football at Jamestown College.
Oh, yeah.
That's in Jamestown, North Dakota. NAI school back then. Now it's a Division II school, but wouldn't trade my experiences all the way through high school and college for anything.
Now, you're right. We had Tara Rose from St. Croix Falls. There's connections in our profession. Growing up, now you mentioned a lot of different sports. Wisconsin. You didn't mention hockey. Was there no ice on your streets, or was that just not in your neighborhood?
Well, when I was growing up, St. Croix Falls didn't have hockey. We actually had ice rinks at every elementary school. The janitors would flood a rink for recess, and you go out and play boot hockey and different stuff like that. But when I was in school, we didn't have a hockey team, and they co-op now, but we didn't have that when I was growing up. So across the river in Minnesota, hockey was king in the winter, but we were a pretty hot and heavy basketball town when I was growing up.
So for you, let's talk basketball. Was it somebody have a hoop in the driveway? Was there, that street corner that had a hoop? Were you down at the playground? What are some of your memories of your hooping days?
Well, we had a hoop in the driveway, and when we resurfaced my parents' driveway, it got to be a little bit shorter hoop, so it was nice for being able to think you were a big man and dunking on the hoop. But lots of one-on-one and lots of friendly games there. We had a place about 3 miles away in Dresser, Wisconsin. It was in our district, but there was this old town hall, and we went there countless times over the years with 10 kids, and we just go play and spend the afternoon, the evenings there. And like I said, it was kind of a crazy basketball town. And I have a younger brother who's 2 years younger than me, and he played college basketball, and so we were basketball crazy in that era.
Oh, no, and again, same memories. That old gymnasium in town, we'd ride our bikes. A lot of times the coach or somebody's dad would have the key. and you'd get in there and just play and have all those great those battles. Won a lot of NBA titles on last second shots playing those games.
For sure.
As you got into high school, you talked about small school, small town people or kids. You played all the different sports. What are some of your memories? What's maybe one in particular that jumps out, even after all these years later from your high school days?
Well, that's hard to pin down. We were fairly good in just about everything too, but the biggest thing is I knew right away because of my football coach and some of my basketball coaches and my track coach that that's what I wanted to do. From early on, I think from my sophomore year on, I was planning to be a coach, and I've transitioned from 28 years coaching and AD a little bit now to full-time AD stuff. So the relationships that they formed with us and us with each other were super long lasting for me. I guess if I had to pick a sports memory, got to play in the state championship football game. Didn't turn out our way, but got to play at Camp Randall on the University of Wisconsin campus when I was a sophomore. That was a pretty big deal.
Oh boy, I can imagine that. Absolutely. Playing on that big college venue. As you were looking to go to college, you mentioned Jamestown University. Great program, a lot of history there, a lot of success. Was that preordained? Did you have family that had gone there? Was the coach recruiting you? Is that where your high school coach kind of steered you? How'd that end up?
Well, no, I didn't really have any connections to Jamestown, and they were recruiting me a little bit to play football out there, and I visited and kind of loved it. It was about 6 hours away from home, but it was halfway between there and where a lot of my mom's family was in Montana, and had driven through there a little bit before. The only thing I knew about Jamestown is we stopped and they had a giant buffalo on the side of the freeway. And when I went there, it just kind of felt like home, and spent 4 great years there.
Okay, yeah, that's again. I coached in the '90s. I was at Missouri Valley College, and as you're following all those scores from the different conferences, you'd see Jamestown. I think were they the Jimmies? Is that their mascot? Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Um, you mentioned earlier that it was kind of preordained, at least in your mind, that you were going to be a coach at the college level. And we'll kind of wrap this segment up here. Any coaches or mentors that just kind of cemented that for you that this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I had a legendary coach, Raleigh Greeno, at Jamestown College, and I only got to be with him for a year, but uh, I knew that was continuing to be what I wanted to do, and back then I thought I had a plan to go back to St. Croix Falls and live there my whole life, but it didn't turn out that way, and probably for the best. It'd be hard going home and knowing all those people and different stuff with that, but for me, it led me to my first job in a small little town in southern Minnesota. And before I actually knew that happened, the man that I was student teaching under, his brother was a elementary principal in that same district, and both of them were Jamestown grads. And I didn't really even know that connection when I was interviewing, and turned out for the best.
Just again, another great example of the power of networking. You just never know when it's going to, pop its head up. Let's go and take a break. Our guest today, like I said, is Bryan Brown. He's a certified athletic administrator. He's currently the district athletic director for Knox County Schools in Knox County, Tennessee. We're going to talk about that journey from Wisconsin down to Tennessee. But let's take that break. We'll find out more about Bryan's career when we come back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say many times before, probably one of the best equipment purchases I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's a whole lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, our guest is Bryan Brown. He's the District Athletic Director for Knox County Schools in Tennessee. Bryan, you shared your origin story in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin, and now here you are in Tennessee. Can you share with our listeners your journey? And it sounds like you got a couple of stops. Share your journey, if you will, how you ended up at your current position.
Sure. So, like I said, I started off at Cedar Mountain High School. It's a small little 1A school in southern Minnesota, and I was a 22-year-old head football coach that thought I knew everything in the world. And if I could only have half of what I know now back then, I probably would have been unbelievably successful. I coached some basketball, coached some track and field, was there for 4 years. And then I wanted to try to get into some bigger schools. So I moved to Dunlap, Illinois. A school had about 800 kids in it, and did a lot of work on the football staff there. Have some great friends and talked to a few still very regularly. One of my best friends, our head coach there, was at the Rose Bowl cheering on his Indiana Hoosiers last week. And so he's excited about that. But again, coached some basketball, coached some track there. Then went to North Carolina. I got married, and we're going to go closer to where my wife's family was then, and was the head track coach and assistant football coach at Parkwood High School. And again, some great experiences there. Lots of things learned. Had some pretty good success. Myers Park High School in Charlotte came and asked me if I wanted to be their track coach, and that was a big jump for me. That school had about 3,000 kids in it, and with that came a change. I would not be coaching football anymore, but coaching cross country, which was going to be a big change for me. That was a kind of a turning point in my career, and where I thought I would lose some connections and different stuff, because I've been a football player and coached football all along. But I found that I got the same satisfaction out of leading and young men and young women to their best in cross country the same. So those connections I didn't lose that. Only thing I lost was the long meeting hours and film study and different stuff like that goes along with coaching football. I was only there for 1 year, and there's a new school opening up in Knoxville, Tennessee, Hardin Valley Academy. And we said, well, if I can get the job at this new school, we'll move to Tennessee. And that happened. I was the teaching social studies all along up until this point, and was teaching social studies and coaching track and cross country. Was very lucky to have some very talented kids, and was pretty successful. Got my master's degree from Liberty University in athletic administration during that time, and started off as an assistant AD while still teaching and coaching, which moved into full-time AD and was continuing to coach. But then our county created the position I'm in now, and I interviewed for it and was lucky enough to do that. And this is my 4th year as the county AD here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, wow. I just love to hear the stories and the different, I think, lessons or learning opportunities that we all get to experience. You know, you as a longtime football coach, and who also coached track too, you know, I can understand those feelings that you had when you were no longer going to coach football at that one school, but now you're going to coach cross country. How and obviously you had a track background too. What were the reaction of the kids that Coach Brown's a football coach, and now he's going to coach us. Do you remember? Was there getting to know each other period with the cross country kids? Because cross country kids, they're wired a little bit differently.
They are. I had a great assistant that had been with the program for years before that, and he was a good kind of segue into what we were doing. But again, we ended up being pretty successful. We're second place in the state that first year, so it transitioned into track, which I had more of a background in. Had a great year doing that as well. So it was pretty quick transition, and I will say that I kind of pride myself on culture being the center point of building programs, and that was quickly established. And I actually came into a program that was really good before I got there, so it wasn't like I was a bare cupboard. And they had been on the podium at the state meet many times before I was there, so it was good.
So probably helped with the transition. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
As athletic administration began to appear, was that something? Looking back, was that intentional on your part that you wanted to add that you were looking to grow in other areas, or was it something that the principal said, hey Bryan, we need somebody in the AD position? How did that develop for you?
Well, it really was me, along in my education years and needing to get a master's degree because that's how you can make some more money and do some different things. I knew that I didn't want to be a principal.
Right.
So getting my master's degree, I didn't want to do it in curriculum and some of the other things. Athletic administration seemed to be the fit. And when I started my classes and doing the stuff, it was right along the things that had been doing all along. We put on huge track and field events, 50 or 60 school invitationals and different stuff. So I had a background in doing some of those things, hosting district tournaments and different stuff. So it was a good transition for me to go into education-based athletics as an administrator from the coaching world.
Starting out in Wisconsin, now you're in Tennessee. I talk to a lot of ADs, younger ones just starting out, and even old guys like me. And some are, they don't want to leave home. They're not willing to make that move. I was born and raised, started my career in Oregon, and then was a small college coach for about a 10-year period and went to Missouri, to Vermont. I was all over this country with my wife, who was also a coach, and we ended up in Florida. We've been in Florida now for 20 years. But, it doesn't seem like the moving and looking for or taking advantage of opportunities that didn't seem to be an obstacle for you. Can you comment on that? How did it work out for you? It certainly worked out for me and my family, but how did that work out for you? And these are my words, taking advantage of opportunities.
It was just something where I saw opportunities come up and I thought they were better jobs. Now, I would not suggest that for anybody that's not wanting to be in the profession very long, because your state retirement systems obviously change when you're doing those things. So back in the days of trying to figure that stuff out and do things, I've been in Tennessee for 18 years now, though, so not too worried about that anymore. But that is a consideration that you have to have. But I just thought I was going to better opportunities. And I never thought that I would stop coaching, ever thought I'd stop coaching. But when this job came open, it was a better opportunity, and it probably was the only time it was ever going to come open for the remainder of my career. So I either had to choose to do it or not do it, and then maybe regret that decision later. So I think that you make these decisions, move forward, make the best of it, and I always feel like it's the best decision, and that's the way to look at things in life.
No, you're absolutely right. You got to look at, the pros and the cons, look at the opportunities on both ends and then make the best decision for you. obviously use you and your family, but is this going to be a good move for us? Let's go and take another break. And when we come back, I'm going to have Bryan share his current position as, he mentioned he's no longer coaching. Most ADs, we say we coach the coaches. Well, he's the district athletic director. He's coaching ADs and probably doing a little coaching of coaches himself. So let's take that break. We're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day. Things like scheduling, rosters, results, facility management. How about athletic eligibility and clearance? The Home Campus platform is a game changer. To find out all the things that they can do for you in your school, just go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We also want to thank Beacon Creative and Wall of Fame. Now, Vital Signs Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade, but Beacon Creative has taken it to the next level. It's a content creation service. Beacon Creative is going to take your information, your students, your history, and create compelling stories that you can then upload to your digital platforms. The Wall of Fame platform is incredible. The Beacon Creative takes it to the next level. I want you to email John Townsend. Email him at John, John, at beaconwalloffame.com. You're going to be glad you did. That's Beacon Creative Wall of Fame. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a social media marketing guru. Your school is doing great stuff, and the team at Gipper is going to help you get that out there in the world, whether it's a simple social media post to celebrate a victory or an entire newsletter to showcase all the great things in your department. It's your graphics, it's your colors, it's your logos, it's your brand. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. And as always, don't forget to mention you heard about it on the podcast. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Once again, we're talking with Bryan Brown. He's a certified athletic administrator, and he is the county athletic director for Knox County, Tennessee School District. Bryan, you mentioned a little bit about your time at Knox County. Review for our listeners. How you ended up there, or not how, but what you were doing when you first got there versus what you're doing now as a county AD.
So I was teaching and coaching, and got my master's degree and started as an assistant AD, and then was the full-time AD at Hardin Valley Academy. And our district leadership created a full-time athletic administrator at the county level, and I applied for that and got that job. So I transitioned from a school building and coaching to full-time in the central office. Again, something I probably never thought I would be doing, but as opportunities come up and look at what's best for me and my family and everybody else, this was it. It probably wasn't going to come around again in my lifetime, and was a great decision for me, and very happy to be the district athletic director for Knox County Schools.
Now, I mentioned this at the close of our last segment that, we say athletic directors, coach the coaches. I'm sure that's still part of your daily routine, but how is it coaching other athletic directors at the other schools in your district?
Well, that is something that's been fun for me to do. We have 15 high schools, 13 comprehensive high schools, and 2 kind of specialty magnet schools. At our 13 comprehensive high schools, we have ADs that are 75% ADs and 25% in a teaching role, which is new. That is relatively new in the last 5 years or so in our district as well. All of the ADs used to be assistant principals / ADs, and we have moved to this model, which has been beneficial for athletics as well as the assistant principals being able to be educational leaders in the building so they can actually do their job well. Not a whole lot of discipline and things going on a Friday afternoon if an assistant principal is getting ready for a football game. So it has been great for athletics and great for our school buildings for us to transition into that. We also have 16 middle schools that we right now offer a fairly limited amount of sports. We're looking at expanding that and potentially taking this AD model down to the middle school as well. I would say that would be many steps in between here and there before we get there, but we want to be able to add more sports and expand that middle school AD role as well. So the 13 high school ADs, um, before we had our district office, there was only one person that had their CAA, and that person actually came from a different district. He had his CMAA and is at one of our middle schools, but we didn't have any high school athletic directors that had their CAA. So I took it upon myself just to start pushing our people. Let's get the CAAs. Let's work on our CMAA projects. Let's work on getting certified and getting involved in, getting more education for us as athletic directors. And as all of our people are doing that, I think by the end of this school year, we'll have 10 of our 13 that will have their CAA, which I'm super proud of.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's great. And I love the idea of, as you mentioned, taking the model down to the middle school level. We all know how important it is to get things started out right for those kids. Love to talk about, coaching and coaching hires. I think most athletic directors would agree that if in a perfect world, our coaches, particularly our head coaches, would also be teaching or working somehow on campus in the building. We acknowledge that we're always going to have off campus coaches, and I've had some great ones in my career, just fantastic. But for you, Knox County, what's your ballpark percentage? How many of your, let's just say the head coaches at the high school, how many of your head coaches, what percentage are also teachers on campus or work somehow in the building?
Well, our overall percentage for all of our coaches, which we have a lot. I mean, a big district, many sports, we have probably 650 coaches. I would say 70% still teach in the schools.
Oh, that's fantastic.
For our what we call our major head coaching sports, most of them still are. We've had a few football coaches and just a couple of basketball coaches that have not been teachers. We see it more often in some of our um, other sports that are not deemed as much major sports, our tennis and our cross country, golf. A lot of them. We
Sure.
have bowling in the state of Tennessee. There's a lot of those guys that are basically parents that have bowled a lot and done things like that. But our overall percentage is probably 70-30. We know we want to try to have that as many as possible. It's just better because people are in the building just get how schools work better than people that haven't had an educational background.
Mhm.
If they've come from the club world, they really don't get it. If they've come from the what we'll call daddy ball realm, they don't really get it as well either. But it is a reality that we're going to have to train these people up to be the best that they can be for us as well, because it's not going to change, I don't think, anytime soon.
Well, you're absolutely right on everything that you just said. And you opened the door to my next question. You talk about training them. What are some things that you do from your position to help onboard these off-campus coaches and bring them into the culture, bring them up to speed so they can be successful? Because there's some great coaches out there that are also that are just not teachers. What do you do to help get them on board?
Well, what we've done at the district level is we've empowered our building level ADs um, to train their people. We have some district must haves in training, but then we go through with each of them on what is best for their building and what are the similarities and differences that they need to have in their training to each other. but then how do they go about doing that? And I think where we have really focused is the people we hire in the summer, they get all the training. But when we have these spots open in October or December or now January, um, that training seemingly gets pushed to the side a little bit. So we're really trying to be intentional on making sure that um, our folks are getting the same training no matter when they're hired, because the kids that are on those teams um, that are not taken care of in the fall are just as important as the ones that are taken care
Yep.
of early on in the season. So we have this year partnered with Activate, so that we are onboarding all of our coaches and making sure that we are compliant in all of our trainings. We have quite a few videos. The way our county has gone is we create videos and things for people to watch, and then our ADs are setting up meetings with each of them to go over all that stuff. And if they have questions, if they have concerns, if they have anything, we're letting them take care of that. And I get involved as much or little as they want. I tell them all, my job is to support you. And we've got some very veteran ADs that have been around the block a long time, and others that are, we hired three different ones this year. That's their first year. They're still treading water. So they seemingly need a little bit more help than everybody else. But I've got some of our most veteran people and people that have taken 15 LTC classes that I talk to almost on a daily basis, just because stuff is different every day. Every situation is different. And sometimes there's things that I'm like, well, let me try to find out the best answer for you, because I've never heard of this situation before. And so when we're training up our coaches, we just do the best we can. And those ADs do regular check-ins with all of their people just to try to support them as I'm supporting our ADs.
Well, great stuff there. I love how you jumped ahead to our next topic after the break on LTCs and the NIAAA program. Great stuff. Let's go and take another break. I know that's shocking to our regular listeners, but we're coming back with more. Once again, our guest is Bryan Brown. He's the District Athletic Director for Knox County Schools. That's in Knox County, Tennessee. We're coming back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's through the Ohio program, but my assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience. And while they were earning their master's degree, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We want to say thank you to our good friends at Hometown. Hometown continues to be a game changer with their solutions that include things like, well, digital ticketing, of course. They're still the leading digital ticketing provider for schools and colleges. But how about fee-free fundraising, athletic website construction, and a whole lot more? Whether you're an AD, coach, even a principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time, how to raise more money, and how to bring your community together. Go to hometown.com to get started. And we've got a new sponsor. We want to welcome Booster Hub to the Educational AD Podcast. You need boosters who can deliver results, not just create headaches. A weak system, along with volunteer turnover, can leave your program vulnerable. But Booster Hub, the #1 software for booster clubs, can help solve this. Sponsorship payments, meal fees, concession sales, all of this can now flow through one secure system. And when volunteers do change, and you know they're going to change, nothing is going to fall through the cracks. Funding stays strong, fraud risks stay low, and your community stays engaged. Booster Hub also will handle your communication, your volunteer scheduling, your online spirit sales, and this gives your boosters more time to support the athletic department as fans. Give your boosters the platform they need to truly support your athletes. Learn more at boosterhub.com. That's boosterhub.com. And of course, make sure you mention you heard about it on the podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest, once again, is Bryan Brown from Knox County, Tennessee. Bryan, you're a certified athletic administrator. Now, that doesn't happen by accident. Can you share with our listeners how you, even how you first found out about your state association, how you found out about the NIAAA and their leadership training program? How did that all develop?
Well, I was a member as a building level AD, but didn't really get involved as much because I was still coaching until I became the district AD. And I was very lucky to have the National Athletic Director Association conference. My first year was in Nashville, so it was close to home. I got to go there, jumped right in on all the courses. I met some great people we were hosting the NADC, Mike Ellison and Kelly Fish and Tony Clower and a lot of great people, Greg Wyant, our state leadership in Tennessee. And I just kind of jumped in. I figured if I'm going to do this for the rest of my career, I need to do it 100% and get in there. So I started taking classes, and I took 3 classes that first NADC, and then I was a very tired guy after that. And one of them was 506. So I thought I was going to get sued at every second that I was being an athletic director. But it set the groundwork for me to finish up my CAA and be able to let all of my building level ADs know that this is what they need to do. You guys need to go get some professional development, learn all of the things, do all of the classes, do as much as you can, and get involved. There are now 4 of our Knox County folks that are sitting on our state board. Very proud of that. And many that are either have finished their CAA or will finish it this year. Had one of our schools, Gibbs High School, and AD Dustin Minot finished the QPA this year. With that, we've got 2 others, myself included, that will be doing their CMAA projects sometime this spring. So we're moving forward and trying to model and have the most number of our ADs trained as much as we can.
Boy, and you mentioned model a couple of times. That's absolutely right. You know, having that leadership, it's not just talking the talk and saying, hey, professional development's important. You know, you're following through and getting those certifications. I'm going to put you on the spot now. You mentioned getting your own CMAA later this spring. Can you share what your project is or is going to be?
Well, my project is something that I do a lot in my day to day. And actually, after we're done this afternoon, I'm going to a construction site, but it is Title IX compliance and prevention is what my project is. And that is a big part of what I do as a job now. I do train the ADs, but I say that my job is more at the 40,000 foot level a lot of times for program development and different things like that. It was just a couple of years before I started that we had our first Title IX compliance officer in our district, and we did have some issues, and we've had to clean up some of those things, and we've had some construction and different stuff like that. But we're now out in front, and we're hopefully preventing us from having any future issues here in Knox County. But that's what I'm doing for my project.
Oh, wow, great. I love it. And again, we talk about Title IX. You don't follow the Title IX, policies, guidelines, et cetera, because you want to avoid a complaint. You follow them because it's the right thing to do. We want to make sure our girl athletes are, just as supported, facility wise, uniform wise, in every aspect as the boys are. So good for you. Great stuff. Are you doing the traditional, the written project, or are you going to do the oral presentation?
I'm going to do the oral presentation.
Yeah, I tell people all the time. I did mine, old school. I think it was 2011, and that's all you could do back then. You wrote it out, but I enjoyed it. I had a great time. However, had the oral option been there, I would have been all over that as well. Very cool way to do it. For listeners, if you are considering, your CAA or any of the others, the registered middle school athletic administrator credential or your CMAA, your state association has a certification coordinator. Go to your state website, find out who it is, and direct your questions to them. If not, please feel free to reach out to me. I was on the National Certification Committee for almost 10 years, and I still help people prepare for the CAA. I help them with their CMAA project. So everybody in the organization would be happy to help you. Bryan, this has been really cool. I know we've had a chance to visit a little bit prior to this, but getting to hear your journey and your story and all the things you're doing in Knox County, very, very cool stuff. But we're not done yet. We always wrap up with the Athletic Director Toolbox segment. Now, you certainly know your way around the world of athletics, but in a moment, we're going to take a final break, hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsor this segment. And then I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director on their first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 tools in their toolbox. So let's take that break, and when we come back, we're going to see what Bryan Brown from Knox County, Tennessee is going to put in his new athletic director toolbox. We want to say thanks to our friends at Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. At my schools, we use surveys for just about everything, for student athletes, for coaches. We also used them for parents. And here's the cool thing. The information that came back on these surveys, almost always over the top positive. We still got to hear from our squeaky wheel parents, but the surveys allowed us to hear their concerns, typically address them before they turned into something big. But getting back to that positive data, when you go into a conference with a frustrated parent, having all that positive data is incredibly valuable. It also came in handy if you had to talk to your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that helps you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. And like I've said, don't forget to mention you heard about it on the podcast. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Bryan Brown, Certified Athletic Administrator and the County Athletic Director for Knox County Schools in Knox County, Tennessee. Tremendous background as an athletic leader, but right now I'm going to task him with sending out a brand new AD on their first job, but I'm only going to let him put 3 tools in his toolbox. So, Bryan, what 3 tools are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
Well, I've thought about this, and the first would be an organizational tool. I used to be a paper and pencil guy and write the things down on a calendar and flip the pages. But as I've transitioned to my job in the district office, if I don't put it down on my Outlook calendar, another meeting will pop up, another visit, another thing will happen. So being organized, whichever way works best for you. For me, that is my Outlook calendar. And just like I had to schedule this time for this, if I don't do that, it doesn't happen because something else fills its place. And even to the point of scheduling time to do work so that you're uninterrupted with other things that just seemingly take over sometimes. And sometimes the emergencies take precedence. But if you don't schedule your time out well and actually put it down that you're busy during that time, somebody else is going to take your time. So some type of organizational tool for your time. The second thing that I want to put in there was a listening ear. We are in a society that everyone wants instant gratification. Everyone wants to be heard in what they do. So as I have aged and had many of these conversations, being slow to speak and quicker to listen has helped me out tremendously. because sometimes they just need to get it all out, and sometimes they will solve their own issue without you having to do anything, as long as they talk it out. So a listening ear would be the second one, and the third would be communication. And like I said, we live in an instant gratification. We have these things on our hands all the time, these phones that people are texting and emailing and doing all the different things, but making sure that you communicate in a timely manner, that you call. Calling is a lost art. A lot of times people want to just know that you're thinking of whatever their issue is, but you don't always have to have the answer right away, but call and say, hey, I'm working on this. I'll get back to you, so that they don't get frustrated, and staying on top of those communications. And again, that's something that's a little bit different in my position, um, because I have a little bit more time. I'm not putting out fires constantly in a building with different things that are going on. So trying to get back to people within 24 hours is a goal that I have for all communications, but usually it's much quicker than that.
Boy, I love all three of them. I'm going to start with your first one, your Outlook calendar, the organization. You mentioned something that I think it needs to be mentioned more, is that as you're scheduling, as you're putting together your own calendar, you've got to schedule those blocks of time to literally do the work. Because we just think, oh, I've got a meeting here, I've got, this person, I'll just do my work in the meantime. And that time gets sucked up by something where they saw that you didn't have anything on your calendar. So absolutely, I love that. The example that you used about having the listening ear, just letting them talk the problem out themselves. When I finally in my career, and it was way too late in my career, learned to do that, to have that listening ear. I love my job, but my job became so much more enjoyable because I wasn't jumping in and trying to find solutions to problems that didn't exist. And then your last one, again, those phone calls, be timely with them. You get that mile-long email that when you check the timestamp, it was sent out at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Don't respond to the email. Call them up. Just say, hey, I got your email. What's up with that? And then you get to listen to them. But a lot of times that quick response really takes care of what something that could have been a big problem. Great stuff. We didn't do this before, so shame on me. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more, or just add you to their network, what's the best way our listeners can connect with Bryan Brown?
I'll probably send me an email and I can get a hold of you. Bryan.brown@knoxschools.org is my email address. And I get lots of stuff. I'm on our state board for the TIAAA and help run our conference. So I'm glad to talk to anybody. Glad to talk to membership questions for anybody. But anybody out there, I think the best part of what we do at the NADC and the different cohorts and different stuff is networking. I've done a couple of different of the cohorts, and I have friends across the country that I'm not afraid to lean on. And one of my supervisors asked me for a question the other day. It's like, well, I know somebody in Georgia. I know somebody in North Carolina. I know somebody in Oklahoma. The networking that you do is invaluable, and I'm glad to help anybody out that seeking a question to be answered.
And I'm so glad you mentioned the cohorts too. I was fortunate enough to be in the very first NIAAA leadership cohort, and that was a few years ago, and still in touch with just about everybody from that cohort. A lot of us have retired, but we still stay in touch with each other. Bryan, thanks again for sharing. All the best as we move forward into 2026, and hopefully we're going to be able to connect either at the TIAAA or come down here to the FIAAA.
That sounds great. Thank you.
For listeners, we want to say thanks to you and just remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories along with best practices. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.